I think we're live. Hey.
Hi. Hello.
Hey.
Hi,
Hello.
how are you?
Good.
Yeah.
How are you?
Good, yeah.
Good.
Yeah, everybody,
Hey,
hello again.
Hi, I'm Heidi. This
Right.
is Dain.
I'm Dain, yeah.
And this is GirlzgameToo presents Happy Little Miniatures. Yeah, hopefully we're going to have some happy miniatures by the end of the day today.
Yeah, episode 2.
Episode 2. We made it to episode 2.
We're doing some painting today.
We are. Yeah. We finally get to get dirty today. I'm wearing my paint shirt.
Oh, yeah. Well, I guess this is going to have to be a paint shirt, you know.
Well, it's got a little paint maybe on it.
Yeah, I have a feeling it's probably been through a few studio sessions. Yeah.
Yeah, a couple. Okay,
yeah.
okay. Yeah. So we're talking a little bit about Prime today, and we talked about prep and different types of paint last episode. In case you missed it, go back and watch it.
Yeah, it's good review.
It really is.
It's not going to get old because it talks about what paint actually is, acrylic paint more specifically.
Yeah.
So because of that, you know, even when these paint names will inevitably change over time, because they're constantly rebranding and renaming stuff.
Exactly.
You know, the rules of what paint is made of, as far as we know.
Yeah, it's still gonna pretty much stay the same.
The physical reality of paint will pretty much remain the same. So,
exactly.
yeah. Although,
I just got beeped.
Yeah,
you know what that means?
What's that?
That means that I'm subscribed to my channel.
Oh, okay. Well, it's a good reminder.
And that we're live.
Yes, we are live.
We are live.
Yes.
That's a good thing.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So what have you been up to this weekend, Heidi?
Well, I went to one of your workshops.
Oh, you did?
And I did a few test paints.
Yes.
Yeah, and I did some priming.
Yes.
On my own, not actually in the workshop.
Yeah.
And so I wanted to show you all what I did. I worked some on the blue dudes.
Okay.
They remind me of White Walkers.
Oh, these guys here.
Yes.
These guys right here.
Yeah. I've recently been watching the Game of Thrones.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah,
yes. Who hasn't, right?
Right.
Well, if they haven't, they definitely let you know on Facebook.
I don't want.
Yeah.
I was one of those people. I've never seen a single episode. Until
when did you start watching it?
Like a few weeks ago.
Okay, so
and
you
now
caught
I'm
it quick.
all caught up.
Wow, that was fast.
Yeah, I like binged it.
What a long, quick, strange trip it's been, right?
It's been a very strange trip. Yeah,
for sure.
But so
that would have been a segue for Quick Trip right there.
It totally would have. Sponsor us, and we'll segue.
Yeah,
to
give us free refills.
Exactly. So
but yeah, you've got some here that you painted.
I took 3 guys, and these guys I did without priming.
Okay. Oh, what?
Yeah.
You could do that?
You can. And if you watch our first episode, you'll learn that.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Call back.
Comment if you want, because we
please.
love comments.
Yeah.
Even if it's like, what?
Yeah, tell us
what
where we're
mean?
wrong. You know, like
you can do that, not prime.
There's got to be some exceptions to all these things we've been talking about at this point.
Exactly.
So tell us.
I went ahead, and so we have 3 different ones.
Okay.
And now, see,
Perfect.
I just screwed up, but I think I know what everything is. I have my recipes
this
all
is
here.
This is just live web streaming.
Oh
That's
my
all.
God.
No problem.
Right. All right. So
no pressure.
Right. All right. So I'm gonna start with the one that I like least.
Okay, I think that would be a good way to start. Yeah. Since these are, so you want to consider all these like basically what action figure painters or any of the toy designers, they call them test shots.
Right.
So you already have the sculpt down. I think in most cases you have the sculpt down already, but when you do a test shot, it's supposed to be when you paint it, I believe is when.
But I'm kind of interested to try these on primed ones too now.
Yeah.
Now I'm gonna let you do this because you got this close up cam down now.
Well, kinda.
So you can see the colors on this. All right.
Yeah.
Now remember, there was no prime on this, so it just started with the base dude.
Okay.
And I call this guy the long-haired dude.
Okay.
And so he started off with a wash, and I'm gonna butcher these just now.
That's okay.
All right.
I can.
Of Drakenhof Nightshade.
That's perfect. Drakenhof Nightshade. Yeah.
Drakenhof Nightshade. That's
a shade paint. So that's the first color you did?
That was the first color I did.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
That's a different. You know, like a lot of people, they'll do like a base paint or something like that. One of these shades or washes. They're very thinned out paint, but highly pigmented. Yeah. So you immediately got those details in.
I immediately went straight for that.
Okay,
and went,
good.
Let's see how this deposits down in there. Yeah. And as you can see, it went down in there and really deposited right down into all them crevices. Because he had a lot of crevices. But then he was really dark. And so I try to not get to the base so that you could still see the color I started with.
Yeah, the contrast there.
And so
this is what they look like before. See how much.
And that actually has a clear prime on it.
More dramatic.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So that's I grabbed one that. Okay.
Yeah.
So let's just be official here.
Let's be official.
This is what it will look like.
That's what it looked like beforehand.
So it actually is slightly, a little even lighter than the one that's clear primed.
Yeah.
It appears to be.
Yeah. So because the clear prime does put a little bit, and I was going to show that.
Like a matte to it. Yeah. Okay. So we'll get there.
We're getting there.
I jumped ahead on accident.
It's okay. Yeah. Okay. So then I dry glazed.
Okay.
On top of that, a Rufang steel.
You mean the dry brush?
What? We discussed this.
How did you do a dry glaze?
Well, we discussed this.
We did? Okay.
Yeah,
tell me.
We discussed this in class because I said, should I say a dry brush? And you said because it's more of a glaze, I should say a dry glaze.
Oh. Okay. Well, there is something kind of like that, and it's called overbrushing, which is it's very similar. I think I was probably thinking of that in my head, but it came out.
Oh, okay.
But it's called, like, more commonly called overbrushing. Which is, it's like dry brushing, but like you use a paint that's a little looser. Yeah. And you let it, you still let it float on the top of the highlight, the highlight parts of the sculpture.
This was really, really thin.
Right, yeah. It's because it's an airbrush paint. So they make
this is an airbrush paint.
Citadel makes an airbrush.
And y'all see this? Yeah. I suck at this. He's got
No, you got it. Yeah. Oh, is it doing that on its own?
Yeah, it is.
Wow.
And so
the text is where it has trouble. Oh, see, it had it. It had it,
and then I turned it. There we go.
But Rufang steel, so that's
Rufang steel, and it's airbrush.
Yeah.
And so that makes it super duper thin.
Right.
Which makes it really hard to dry brush.
Right. So did you have to kind of take some of it up with your paper towel a little bit? So
I did a two-brush kind of thing.
Okay.
Is what I did.
Okay.
So I put some on with one brush and then took some up with another.
Oh, okay, yeah. There's also another. You're already talking about some advanced stuff here. That's what happens if you
right?
intuitively problem solving. There is a two brush blending technique that you can get. I've never actually really done it, but basically you get the paint on.
You do it in watercoloring.
It's almost like a watercolor effect, right? Yeah. You use the second brush to kind of soak up.
I do a lot of canvas stuff.
Yeah, so that's how you knew about that. So it's a lot of this stuff transfers over.
Yeah, it
Matter
really
of fact,
does.
I mean, I learned a lot about color theory by painting miniatures, actually, rather than taking color theory. Well, I had a good color theory instructor in high school, but when I took it in college, it was review. Because it was such a good class in high school. Right. So nothing against the college class. Because I taught it later myself.
Oh, yeah.
The same curriculum even. But
now he teaches it even better. All right.
Exactly. That's the whole point. You bring me in and make it even better.
Exactly. So that's him. Yeah. All right.
Okay. I hope didn't dump around too much, but okay. Yeah, Drakenhof Nightshade wash. Yeah. And then you overbrushed or wet. You called it a wet glaze.
Yeah.
Of the silver.
Or dry glaze.
Dry glaze of the silver.
Of the silver. Rufang steel.
Oh yes, Rufang steel. Yeah. So it's the bright. It's one of the brighter.
It's just two things. Silvers. That's all that's on that.
Yeah.
Just two.
So you're going for high contrast.
Yeah.
Drama.
Very dramatic.
Right.
Yes.
Maybe even theatrical, you could say, because of the silver.
Yes.
Right. So you could see a good kind of color shift at all angles.
And if it will.
Yeah. Well, we'll get some photos on the.
And we will. Yeah. We're gonna put photos up.
Yep.
Because the photos always show it better.
Yep. Exactly.
All right. So the one that I kind of like in the middle, that's the one I like the least.
That's the one you like.
I'm kind of interested to see that out on a primed one.
Okay. That same effect.
Yeah. I had issues with it sticking. I'll tell you that. I did because it was very liquidy. I had some issues.
Okay.
I'm just gonna say that up front.
So would you white prime it or black prime it?
I want to do it on a clear prime.
And
we're going to discuss that.
Yeah,
we're going to discuss that.
Good segue.
Yeah.
Good segue.
Okay. All right.
So that's number one.
That's number one.
Yep.
All right. So number two is Our Lady.
Okay.
All right. You'll notice these are all different blue miniatures. All right. Our Lady. And I do like her. But she's probably more technical than anybody. She took more.
Okay.
All right. So she has a base of blue Cantor. Okay. Now her hair, I went straight on.
Okay.
And you can tell because there's a lot more pigment on just her hair. I went straight on to her hair.
Right.
But with the body, I did a mix of blue Cantor, and you're going to have to help me say it.
Okay.
The Lathium.
Oh, Lamian medium.
Yeah.
So that's the best. I mentioned it last week. It almost had it. That's like the best medium I can find on the market, honestly.
Yeah.
And Citadel makes it.
Because the blue Cantor did not want to stick.
Okay, so it helped it stick.
Mm-hmm.
Really interesting. And you'd washed this before, right?
Yes.
So even after washing it, you still had some trouble.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
I did.
Mm-hmm.
So it did not want to stick as a base. It was more like working like a wash.
Is it tracking? It acted more like a wash than an actual paint.
Yeah.
Did it get mixed up really good?
Yeah. You did it on your little thingy.
Oh, that was one of them that I actually put in the machine.
Yeah.
Okay, the paint shaker. Okay. Interesting.
So that's why I ended up mixing it with the medium to see if it would stick a little better.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And then I dry brushed it. So this is the blue Cantor.
Mm-hmm.
I'll let you. Let's see. Where are we?
Yeah. See, it picks everything up except for the text.
Yeah. And you guys can see the color.
Yeah, you can see the color for sure. So it's like a royal blue.
It is, and it is a base color.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah, it's made to. This paint is the base. So, any of the base paints are made to stick to your miniature.
So this one,
right out of the bottle.
Kind of interested to try.
Yeah.
On like a white prime.
Okay. Okay. So prime it white first.
Yeah, but then I'm gonna have to figure out a skin color.
Okay.
A different skin color.
Oh, you want to do a different skin from the cloth.
It would have to be a lighter skin color than the blue Cantor.
Right.
Because see, I went with leaving the skin. You see that, and I just put the blue Cantor in on the
clothing.
The clothing.
Oh, okay. So you want to kind of maybe experiment with this a little bit further.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then I dry brushed. Actual dry brush.
Oh yes.
White Scar.
I don't think we talked about dry brush yet, did we?
No, we haven't.
Oh, okay.
So, we're gonna all these techniques.
Yeah.
We're gonna end up going through, but it's gonna be all individual.
I'll make sure Heidi explains dry brushing for everybody. Okay?
Oh boy.
Yeah. So that'll be a fun episode. Look forward to that. I think it'll be the episode when we cover orange.
Ooh.
Yeah, and also metallics.
I love orange.
Yeah, orange and metallics in the same episode.
Ooh.
So how about that?
Okay. So I dry brushed. Hopefully, I'm gonna get a lot more practice on dry brushing.
Yeah.
Boom, boom, there.
Make sure. Yeah.
White Scar.
White Scar. Okay,
yeah,
so
which is a layer paint.
Yeah, it's a layer paint. It's just made for the highest highlight.
And it did pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it stuck pretty good.
Not too bad.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. There were a couple places where I got a little heavy.
And it looks like the like you said, you had that problem with the plastic. It was not sticking to the plastic very good.
Yeah, I did. I did.
So that's number 2.
I did. But these all went very quickly. I did all 3 of these in less than an hour, I think.
Oh yeah, that's right. Because you worked on a lot of stuff that time.
I did. I did like 5 miniatures in that amount of time. Yeah.
Good.
Now this is my absolute favorite, and it went so super quick. And I may end up doing a lot of these this way because I really loved this. It brought out the detail. I thought it made it really look like a White Walker.
Mm-hmm.
Like what I was looking for. So I really, really liked it. And it gave me the look I kind of was really looking for.
Mm-hmm.
So all I did for this one was I did a base of Night Haunt Gloom.
Oh, there goes Zoom again. It's so weird. Oh, it almost had it.
It did.
Okay, you started with Night Haunt Gloom.
Night Haunt Gloom.
Can you explain what that paint is?
So it's a technical paint.
Okay.
And I love this paint.
So you use that as your base coat?
I used it as my base coat.
That's really interesting. Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
And it actually stuck really nicely.
Well, and you can hear it, right? You can hear that it's...
Can you hear that?
Yeah, it's very liquidy. It's very
liquidy,
but it's a little more viscous than like a wash is.
It is more. Yeah, that's a good. I like that word. Viscous.
Yeah,
I love that word.
For sure.
Yeah, so it's not as thick as a base, but it gives it that zombie look, that ghostly look.
Yeah.
And so I'm gonna bring it up so y'all can see that color. I love this night. I need to just get a big thing of it because.
There it goes. Nighthaunt Gloom. See, that's what we needed. We need that. Look at that detail.
Yeah, Nighthaunt Gloom.
That text.
So all this is Nighthaunt Gloom, and whoops,
I got it.
And I need your titanium white.
And okay. And look at this. A brand new paint.
Titanium white.
Yeah.
And that's it.
So that's
I dry brushed titanium white.
Yep. So that's just a Liquitex Basics. You can flip it over. I bet all of you have seen that if you've ever been to Michael's.
Yep.
Any kind of hobby store.
Yep.
They got these big old tubes of this paint. I use this paint for almost all of my painting now, including my puppets. So it's good stuff.
Yeah.
And you do have to, if you're going to use it to do any miniature painting, you definitely need to thin it down. Yeah. Because it's going to be way too thick for miniature painting.
I literally used a very small dollop of that titanium white.
So if you're dry brushing, even less so. You don't need to use any water for dry brushing. That's the one thing.
Right.
We'll get into that later.
Yeah.
For sure.
And so, I mean, and then, well, I'll get into it later how I do it. I always put it on my hand.
Oh, okay. There's different ways you can do it.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. So to help control how much.
So why was this your favorite one, though?
It just turned out what I was looking for. I like the blue Cantor on the woman's hair, but I like...
It's got it. Look.
Yeah, I like the way that it brings out the detail. I like the way the Night Gaunt brings out the depths and all the shadows, and the titanium white brings out all the highlights.
Okay.
And it's easy and simple, and for a horde, you want easy and simple.
This is true. Absolutely. Yeah. Anything that's like ghost troops, yeah.
Yeah.
So let's look at that white scar in that titanium white. And you won't be able to see this on camera, but I think that white scar actually looks a little cooler in the titanium.
See, I used the white scar on... Which one? On her.
Right.
And see, I didn't like the way that it turned out as well.
Right. Yeah. I think titanium white is just a little bit warmer. That might have been what made the difference.
I think it is.
A little closer to like a yellow. Such a slight, very, very slight.
But it's enough of a difference.
Right.
And sometimes you just need that little extra difference to just say, "Ooh, there it is."
Well, just like this stuff here, this Nighthaunt Gloom, this stuff here is like Heidi was saying, it's a technical paint, but you see how I'm just doing this just so you can see the color really. It's almost like a gray turquoise kind of color.
Yeah.
So it's a really interesting,
I would have
color.
never thought I would have liked it on anything.
Yeah, yeah.
This is not a kind of color I would have liked.
Well, it's made for ghosts. For the the Citadel miniatures.
That makes
sense. Made for those ghosts.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But at the same time, even when I've seen it demonstrated, I was not like, it just seems like it's a little too subtle to get the effect, the effect that you want. Right. You kind of have to layer it with other colors. But, but on this particular miniature, because it was a lighter, it
really contrasted with it well.
That's interesting though, because they are pretty close together in value.
They're very close.
Yeah, and somehow it was enough.
Yeah, it went well together.
This one there.
And I was shocked.
It's a slight value difference.
When I started, I was like, oh, you're not even going to be able to see this at first. And then I was like, oh.
Something just clicked.
Yeah, it really did.
Once it dries, maybe. So that's actually an interesting point about colors, paints, is that sometimes colors will actually dry lighter or darker than you're expecting them to. So particularly colors that tend to be more opaque, they may dry a little lighter than they look initially.
Oh yes.
And colors that are translucent almost always dry a little darker than you're expecting sometimes. And in the case of painting on canvas or whatever, some of that's even the fact that it's kind of absorbing into the surface. And as it absorbs into the surface, it gets darker as you layer it.
Yeah.
But until it's completely dry, you won't even necessarily see that.
You won't know what you have.
Right. Mm-hmm. And that kind of leads into priming. So we'll get into that after we talk about so there's one more you want to share with us, right?
Oh no, that was my 3.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that was my 3. I just have my prime stuff now.
Oh, okay. We can talk about primer now. So we can talk about primer. That is a perfect segue then.
Perfect segue. Yes.
How about that?
Yes.
So yeah, that's basically all primer is something that helps your paint stick to what you're painting.
Because I obviously had a few issues.
Yeah, absolutely.
Although you can do it without, obviously. Mm-hmm. There was a couple issues with stickage.
And I think I mentioned did I mention this in the last episode that primer in a lot of ways traditionally was something I already mentioned that it's something that helps the paint stick to the surface, but it essentially creates almost like a very slight grit.
Right.
Yeah. Traditionally, like the gesso primer, right?
Right.
And that's what the gypsum in it was. It was actually it's almost like a type of sand, basically, a mineral. Yeah. And because it's kind of a gritty mineral.
Yeah, and I think you did because I talked about whenever I do a canvas, I always have to gesso it. Yeah.
Exactly. And sometimes you have to do it multiple layers too, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, because otherwise you could it'll soak into that canvas, that raw canvas.
Or you're just gonna use up paint.
And you just use up paint, right?
Yeah.
And it eventually even deteriorates the canvas much quicker, which is pretty amazing that thinking that far back that people would have even thought of that being a thing, right? Like the survivability of the.
Well,
they didn't necessarily
it's 'cause of parchment.
Well, that's true, yeah.
And how parchment always got ate up.
Right. Yeah, and when it was skin, they would actually go back in and write the palimpsest.
Oh, yeah,
that's a whole other.
Now here we go again.
Whole other podcast.
You used to paint on skin.
Yeah.
But hey, tattoos.
Technically, that was technically a form of tattooing.
That's true. Yeah.
Just not voluntary.
Not at all.
Animal skins. Yeah. So.
Yeah, we'll say it was animal.
So priming.
Back to priming.
Yeah. So you don't have to prime, like I said last episode. You don't have to prime your miniatures.
And we just saw saw that.
You could put direct base paint on there. It's a good paint. It's a little thicker. Tends to be more pigmented, and they say, the manufacturer says that it's formulated to stick to the miniature, better too. So no real
side note there.
True proof there or evidence of that because if you ask for the technical information of something like a hobby paint that is copyrighted, it's a little hard to get that type of information. So it's hard to really prove it necessarily in a Mythbuster sense, Oh, what have we got here?
Well, I wanted to kind of compare these two.
Sure.
So we have two. You're going to show them.
Okay, sure.
We have two primed miniatures.
I think I'm just at the angle that's
there we go.
Easier too.
The one with the green is actually primed by hand with just a brush paint.
Okay.
And the other one is a spray prime.
Okay.
So you can. So there's different types of primer.
Yeah, they do look pretty much the same, right?
Pretty close.
Yeah.
I think if you got really close, you might be able to tell that there's probably a little more detail in the brush prime, and you lost a little detail with the spray prime.
Yeah.
And that's the biggest thing is if you're not super careful, because what I did is when I noticed that I might be losing a little detail with the spray prime, I took a brush and I actually brushed off some of the spray primer.
Oh, really?
Yeah, on the face.
It hadn't completely dried yet?
It hadn't completely dried yet.
Okay, so that's an important detail.
So that is what I did because I felt like I had oversprayed it a little. Mm-hmm. And so I just took a brush really quick before it had dried and I just brushed off a little bit. And
it actually still feels like it's drying too.
And that's the other thing.
Did you do that just today?
I did it this morning.
Yeah.
And so it can take a little bit longer for spray primer to dry. And so that's the other thing that I have found is you have to make sure that you do it super thin.
Yeah.
And
2 thin coats? Even with spray primer?
Even with spray primer. It's
Hey.
still gotta be, you gotta do that short spray.
Yeah.
Short,
well, and the temperature.
and not long sprays.
The temperature is a factor too.
That too.
So it was, I think it was probably like a little humid today.
I did it this morning before it got too humid.
Okay, before it did.
Yeah,
okay.
and I did it when it was still below 80 degrees.
Mm-hmm.
And
okay, so you know the rules, for sure.
So I grew up spray painting and all that.
Yeah.
So I'm real comfortable spray painting.
Yeah.
But if you're not comfortable spray painting,
which I'm not.
You know, I watched you do these. Let's compare the white ones.
Oh yeah, the white. Yeah,
I watched you do the white ones in less than 5 minutes. I think I sat there going, I think it took me longer to spray paint these.
So the brush is also the green.
Yeah.
And then the spray is, see, like it gets that good detail, and then it zooms out.
Yeah.
But okay, so you still have a lot of that blue in there.
Yeah.
I still have quite a bit of green. You can see that's okay. Did I talk about undertone and mass tone?
No, I don't know if you did.
Okay, well this might be a good time to talk about it.
This might be a good time to talk about
So the blue and the green that you might be seeing just a little tiny bit in both of these miniatures is the undertone in that miniature. And the mass tone is the white.
Right.
So it's not necessarily intentional when you're priming, but sometimes you'll see that happen.
Right.
And you know what? It's pretty much fine once you got your first few layers of paint, your base coat, and you start doing your highlights and all that. You're going to start covering up enough of the paint on top of the surface of your sculpt that you'll be able to fix that problem, but
unless you use it to your advantage.
Well, you could use it to your advantage. I've seen people do that really play with that. They leave some of the color from the original cast.
If you spray paint this to the point where it's pure white, you will lose too much detail.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So you cannot spray prime.
Yes.
To pure white.
Yeah, I mean,
at least not something that's
I was
small.
Gonna say, I'm sure it is possible, but it's probably more like a big Space Marine armor vehicle or something.
Yeah, believe me, it's something this small. You're gonna have too many drips and stuff like that. As you can see, if you got super close, you could see that there are even little threads.
Oh right, of the paint dripping.
It's just because the way spray paint works, it's almost like threaded paint, and so you have to watch that. If you get it too close, it will actually thread onto your miniature.
Oh, it's doing that. It's creating like bands on there whenever I grab the.
And so,
there we go.
There we go.
So you said it's basically just threads that spin around on. At a microscopic level.
On a microscopic
level. See, now you're talking about the paint stuff with paint that you know about. So you're getting into the physical realities of spray paint, which is exciting. Yeah, for sure. That's great. So it's the propellant that makes it basically spin so fast that it just basically wraps around.
Yeah, you'll end up with lots of threads.
The particles,
then that doesn't look good because then it just looks like you have a hairy model.
Yeah. Well, it's the same principle as mist, basically, right?
Right.
So mist can do that where it starts dripping. Yeah, it creates drips. It's just that in this case, since it's a paint, it actually stops.
It's got a little fiber in there.
Oh, it's got fiber
actually
in it.
Helps. Yeah.
Oh, okay, like
it's
so, like
part
gesso.
of the vehicle. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
The vehicle. Okay. All right. Cool.
Yeah.
So what would the binder be then of the spray paint? I don't know.
Well, maybe that is part of the binder then. Maybe that threading is maybe part of the binder.
Oh, okay. Wow. That's cool. That's cool stuff.
Yeah.
But that's also why you could lose your detail because it's got those extra.
It layers that on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So if you take spray paint, you spray it right onto cardboard really close, you can see all that threading.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. So,
yeah.
But one thing you can get out of spray paint that I have never seen in a brush-on paint is clear.
Okay, so this is the clear is a spray also?
Is a spray also.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
And that's one thing I like, and it's for plastics.
Okay.
And so then I can still go with the base color of a miniature if I like that color, but I have a prime. Mm-hmm. It's primed.
Right.
And so then I can just go straight to a wash, or I could just dry brush this if I wanted.
Well, especially if you want to keep the color of the original sculpt, right?
Exactly.
Now that they're finally starting to do that, where they are playable, they're not gray plastic.
Exactly.
And they don't look gross, and boring like the gray plastic always does.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
And so you have to be careful on this, though, that you don't overspray it. Or
same thing.
Same thing, right. Or it will start to get chalky.
Oh, okay. That was what I was talking about last episode, I think, which is what swore me off of doing spray varnish.
Right.
Yeah. So I forgot what it's like. Like you said, chalky. Like it's almost like frost. That looks,
like it looks.
And it looks like
frost.
It's kind of like growing. Even?
Yeah. And I was trying to make sure I didn't get any, but then I was like, oh, maybe I should just to show them. But then I'm like, no.
There's a little tiny bit in the crevice.
There's maybe a little bit.
It's
in the crevice.
It's so small it wouldn't be able to show it. Yeah. And it's so minor too, because you can just cover that up.
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
About
do you want to
keeping
compare?
the detail.
Compare
I'm doing what you did.
What's that?
The light is not the camera.
Yeah. So I'll go and do both of them for you. Yeah. This angle's a little.
But
easier.
you can see that it does change the color just slightly.
This one here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very slightly.
But not much.
So it's almost more of like a surface thing too. Like the surface has a different quality to it.
Yeah, it's just a it's a matte.
Yeah, it's a little bit more matte, right?
But it.
Yeah, this is more of a satin. The actual sculpt is more of a satin, and
more of
this is more of a matte.
Exactly.
So you can't quite see it on camera, but you'll just have to trust us.
Exactly, trust.
I mean, we are on the internet after all.
Yeah, so you gotta believe us. We're telling you the truth.
Do your own research.
Google that shit.
Yes, Google it. Dr. Google it.
Yeah. All right, so that is my priming that I have done. Oh yeah, because I showed you the black.
That's extensive. That's an extensive experiment that you've done. So your favorite is the third one, right? The third one that you showed.
Yes.
Which was which
was just the Night Haunt with titanium white.
And titanium white. So just two colors. So one was a wash essentially, but it also worked as a base coat.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I did the Night Gaunt as a base coat, and I'm kind of curious to try that actually on a clear.
Oh yeah, no, I can't wait to see that. Absolutely.
Yeah, to see because I want to see if the Night Gaunt even captures more.
Exactly.
On a clear prime.
Yeah. And if you wanted even more contrast, if it doesn't look like it's contrasty enough, after you've done the titanium white, you could always go in there in the dark, in the deeper recesses of the folds of the fabric and that kind of thing with some of the Drakenhof. Ooh. And mix it up with just a little tiny bit of the Lamian medium. So that's your homework.
Okay. Well, I have to get the Lamian medium from you.
You got some homework. You didn't get one in your set, did you?
I didn't.
Okay. Well, I've got extra, so yeah.
Good.
I'll make sure to bring it. I don't think I have it with me this time.
Yeah, that was the only thing I didn't have here, I realized.
For sure.
So now tell me what you did.
Okay, so
he did some homework too.
Yes, I did do some homework.
Yeah.
And we're going to put up pictures on, on my Instagram. I'm going to put up...
Daintist.
Yeah, at Daintist. DAINTIST. Sometimes I forget how to spell my own name. But, when I get nervous, I actually forget how to spell my own name.
Oh, I use a totally different name when I get nervous.
Well, that's a good, that's a much better strategy. Just use a different name altogether. Yeah. So Daintist, that's my IG. So I'll put these up. I took pictures of every step, and I wanted to make sure to let everybody know. You should get yourself a little notebook like this here.
Oh, there you go.
How it's actually picking up that text pretty good.
There you go.
This is my handy little notebook for my color recipes.
Oh, yeah.
So I can really keep track whenever I'm doing some, legitimately want to do some tests and, really keep track of it, just like you were writing down.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's actually from the same notebook.
Yeah, and you can tell that I spilled all over it.
Brought it to the workshop. Well, that's how you know it's a real notes, though.
Real painting
It has a coffee ring or paint on it, In my case, I have paint that I have on it, or the color schemes we're going to talk about later.
And keep an eyedropper around for when you do spill.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. Pro tip.
Yes.
Our first pro tip of the web stream.
Definitely.
Is always have an eyedropper.
Always have an eyedropper. Definitely.
Yes, and it'll pick up the washes much better than it'll pick up the thicker paint. But you'd be surprised at how much of the thicker paint you can pick up If you grab just a little bit of the water.
When I spilled that everywhere.
Well, that was one of the washes, so that was partially why it was a little easier.
Yes.
If it had been like a base paint, it might have been a little trickier, but even with base paint, you can actually just scoop it up with your paintbrush if it's a little thicker.
We have a viewer. Welcome, viewer.
Awesome. Welcome, viewer. If you have any questions at all, or, any corrections, and did I miss something or anything like that, please let us know.
Right?
Because we love to hear from everybody as often as possible. Especially since this is our, only our second episode. So it's going to keep growing and growing. We're going to keep adding more stuff. So my homework was to do some test shots of the zombies. So you did the ghosts.
I did.
And so what I did was the zombies. And the first thing that we wanted to agree on were the colors we were actually going to use to paint the zombies. And traditionally speaking, zombies are green, right?
Right, traditionally,
or gray, right? Sometimes maybe like White Walker. They kind of lean in that direction sometimes.
Yeah.
Blue and black kind of.
Exactly.
Or blue and white. Sometimes. That's maybe a little bit more of a specialized. But anyway, green, zombie green, right? Like that's so pretty much synonymous with zombies. So I think we pretty much wanted to talk about something different, right?
Right.
Not just like, oh, let's just do the straight up zombie green.
Yeah, I wanted something totally different.
Yeah. So the first thing I thought of, well, if your heroes are going to be essentially the primary colors like on the cards. I'm going to grab those cards really quick.
Oh, yeah.
So this actually fit in with what our plan already was, but these cards, you see that their color schemes are essentially red and blue, and I think maybe even a little yellow.
I think there's bigger pictures on the other side.
On the other side? Of the actual, so that's essentially like a blue, red, yellow.
Yeah.
Partially because of the skin tones.
I don't know how to get that.
Kind of reads that way. This yellow and blue and red.
Yeah.
Even the black is essentially like a really dark blue. If you can read that okay. So these are the heroes of Zombicide, at least the ones that we've seen so far. Because I know there's all sorts of expansions here. But see, even this, there's a spot color of her hair where it's a red, a redhead hair color, but the rest are basically red, blue, and yellow, right? Red, blue, and yellow. So the hair acts as the red, as that color. And then, actually, I didn't even notice, but his sword is yellow. So there you go. So all of them fit that. All of them fit that. So that's very common in superheroes comic books.
Exactly.
Even this is the one I really wanted to talk about, Doctor Strange. So even though he's a magician, he still has the primary color scheme, right?
Oh, you're right. He does.
Even his Eye of Agamotto is yellow, right?
I hadn't even thought of that.
Blue and red for the cape and cowl and all that.
There's got to be like a. I studied the psychology behind color. There's got to be a psychology thing about
There's got to be, right?
Yeah.
Well, it brings you back home, right?
Yeah.
It's like primary. You think of growing up as a kid.
Makes you feel safe.
The colors, the first colors you learn are the primary colors.
That's true.
Also why they're called primary.
I didn't know that.
I mean, that's probably just another coincidental layer of it, rather than it being intentional necessarily. Those are red is also the first color that's on the spectrum the first color you will see, which is why they use it for stoplights, right? Like that's the one that will always stand out against other colors. Okay, where was I going with that?
Okay. So we're talking about.
So those are superhero colors, right?
Right, superhero, and what we're picking for our theme.
So, these are going to be villains, right? So the villains, in the case of Doctor Strange, his villains are most commonly Baron Mordo and Dormammu, which if you combine together have green, orange, and purple. Those two characters together.
Oh, okay.
A lot more commonly, the triads of those three colors, either primary or secondary, a lot more commonly they're split up in either just red and blue like Superman. He's even got yellow in the S too, doesn't he? I think inside of the S. Wonder Woman definitely.
Comment if you know.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure, but Wonder Woman for sure. Well, it probably depends on the era. I'm sure there's a Superman S that's white as well. If I think I didn't really follow DC that much. I'm more of a Marvel guy.
I was a big DC girl.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, then you should know that.
I should know. You're right. I should.
But it gets so ingrained in our subconscious that, you know, like, we probably want that third color to be there somewhere.
Probably.
In some cases, but like Spider-Man's another one where he's red and blue, doesn't really have any yellow. So where I'm going with that is like commonly it's not necessarily all three of those secondary colors. A lot of times it's one or two of those secondary colors. So Dr. Octopus, orange and green, which is a really odd color scheme.
That is odd.
Yeah, definitely. Why am I blanking? Hobgoblin, orange and actually he's orange and blue. Okay, anyway, there's all sorts of combinations. The Hulk is a really good example of a superhero that uses a secondary color scheme.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Green and purple, right? And so it tends to be a red or purple.
We're going with secondary color schemes for our villains.
Yes, so they're going to be the bad guys, but I thought, well, we probably want to be a little weirder. And if we made them have green skin with purple pants, that's the Hulk, right?
Yes.
That's immediately going to evoke the Hulk. So reverse that, and then you got
a really so we're going with purple skin.
Odd kind of like post-apocalyptic, like maybe nuclear. It has kind of a nuclear feel to it a little bit.
Okay.
Because of purple skin.
Oh, there we go. He's zooming in now.
Anybody that plays Borderlands, the slag, you could have it like be a slag zombie, because all the that particular element. If you get that element, they turn the characters purple when they get shot with the purple.
Oh yeah.
Purple stuff. Have you played Borderlands?
I haven't, but I know people who have.
Okay, so yeah.
I have lots of friends who play.
So I was thinking of that too.
I actually know someone who worked on the game.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Well, we definitely need to talk. I would love to talk to them about that. So went with purple for the skin, and then we're gonna go with green for the clothing or fur or anything like that they have. But then they have these weird like metal plates on them,
like spikes.
Yeah, well, and the spikes too, right? The spikes will be a whole different thing towards the very end. I think we'll do like maybe a bone color for that.
So we still had to figure out if we want to do on white or black primer.
Yes, so that's what I did. I did just the purple skin to start out with,
right?
And the steps for how to get there, and these will all be on the on my Instagram, as I mentioned. And you can put them up on yours too?
Yeah,
okay.
I will.
So we'll have them on mine. We'll have them both on the Instagrams overlap. But where is that going? We wanted to figure out whether we wanted to do a white prime or a black prime.
Correct.
And that's what we're gonna decide today. I think we've pretty much decided, but.
And then we're gonna actually paint, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we will actually paint these. We should have a little bit of time to get them started at least. So this is the black prime. This is the
comment
black prime.
if you have a suggestion on whether we should go with white or black. So that is actually purple on black prime.
Yes.
And which purple is this?
So I started with for both of these. I started with the Lich purple.
Okay, Lich purple.
And it's a little more red than it shows up here. It shows up a little more blue. I'm very picky about my purples. That's where I'm very picky about those.
Well, I'm pretty picky about my purples myself. I don't blame you.
Okay,
because I'm hoping we do that dragon in some kind of purple.
And I layered it. Oh yeah, that was another reason that we picked that scheme.
Yeah.
Because you thought that the dragon would look better that way too.
Yeah.
So that's the base, basically the base coat of both of the primes. It's still not. Why isn't it not?
Oh, here, let me get on there.
Okay.
It's being that way.
Yeah, it picked it up almost immediately and then it lost it. But anyway, it's called Lich Purple, and they also make make one. Citadel makes one called Xerius Purple, which is basically the proxy nowadays, because that one is discontinued. It's close enough to the original, but this is how it looks. Well, that's including the highlights too, but you see how much darker that looks on the black prime than it does on this. Much brighter, right?
Oh yeah.
Definitely much brighter.
I really like that, the white.
Mm-hmm. So.
What do you guys think? You guys like the white? I think I like it on white.
After that, we did a wash of the Druchii Violet. And there it goes.
There it goes.
Yeah. Druchii Violet. So that made it even darker for the black prime. And then we...
Oh, yeah, it did. Is that what you did?
Yeah. So it made it even darker, but it also made it more purple, right? Including in the recesses where the shadows were.
Okay.
But then we did a layer of highlight of Gene Stealer purple, which doesn't really have a proxy in previous iterations of the Citadel brand. It was a new purple that they made that was a little bit lighter, and that looks almost totally gray. So what you want to imagine is almost kind of a lilac color. And then for the final highlight, we actually did use one called a lilac. It's called T'Challa lilac, and it's a very light, very very light purple. But yeah, you just remember these names basically, and I'll also have when I have the slideshow on Instagram, it has a picture of the color right next to the step that it was painted in. So we did different techniques for each one of those. The main thing we want to do with the base is a couple of, like I mentioned in a previous episode, 2 thin coats, right? You got to do the two thin coats no matter what. You
the Duncan rule, right?
Yes, exactly, the Duncan rule.
The Duncan rule.
So that's the most important thing, just getting started. You don't want to lose any of your detail just because you want to get that, just because you feel like you want to get that color right away, right? You got to be patient.
I think we decided we're going to go with the white guys, right?
Oh, well, yes, we did decide that. Yeah, I know. We need to move it along. I know, so we can actually paint.
I'm not moving it along.
No,
I'm not doing that at all.
No. It's okay. I mean,
well, I don't know. Comment if you think we should go with the black guys instead of the white guys.
Yeah. So you got these. This is how they. Well, here I can do it on this one. This is how they look. So the black prime. We're just trying to overload you with sensory information here.
I know, right? Because I don't think you see enough. I'm thinking we need to do more with that. The black prime guy.
You want to do more experiments?
I mean, I like the way this guy looks, but I don't like. I'm not seeing enough
contrast
right. on this guy.
Well, that's with 3 layers of highlights. So yeah, that lilac that's in there is actually pretty bright. And
I mean, I'm wondering there. You can see his 6-pack.
Maybe if you tilt it up a little bit.
Now I'm just having fun.
Yeah, the main thing is it always wants to kind of backlight. And it's also the undertone of the black. Yeah. That's what's happening with the way the light's reflecting off of it. Is it's picking up some of the undertone. Yeah.
You guys see that?
So we'll have pictures too, but yeah, you get a basic sense that it's just a much darker. Oh, it looks good in that one. I think it's the way the light is angled.
Yeah.
Here, do you want me to?
Yes, you have much longer arms than I do.
There we go.
There.
See, can you see that you could? It still picks up, but you have to have just the right light.
You gotta have just the right light, and then you can kind of see it.
Right. But on this one,
really.
On this one, look at that.
But
that is definitely purple.
But they look so different, the purples, and that's almost too bright. I like this purple.
Yeah. So somewhere there's always gray.
No, I don't want gray.
Well, and you can always
that's almost too
purple.
Too purple.
You could always go back in with another shade.
That's true.
Yeah, that's always a possibility too.
See, I like this. Almost maybe this and some more highlights.
Well, the trick with that is that if you do more highlights, you're just going to get closer and closer to white at this point. So it'd almost be better to just start over and do something that's just a little tiny bit less dark. Because I painted these exactly the same way.
Really?
Yes. That's how much of a difference the prime makes. So that's the lesson everybody's learning today, I hope. But we will definitely get to painting these too. Maybe it might be next episode, but
I know. Now we're gonna have to go to next episode for painting. You're right.
We're revealing the process here.
It's pretty important to know because I do like this purple better.
I tend to lean towards the lighter ones just because that's the way I like to paint. Because I paint a lot of Zinch, so all their colors are just like ridiculous.
But how do we get this deep of a purple on that on a white?
That would just be a matter of more washes. Yeah.
Just more and more, but that's going to take a lot of time.
Exactly. Yes. So that's one of the things about black prime is it will save you a lot of time when it comes to you get that contrast. You get it.
I like that.
Yeah, you do get the contrast, and in the right light, it'll show up really well. That's one of the tricky things about a darker primed miniature, though.
I almost want to keep going with this and see if we did a little lighter on his clothing, if that would help.
Okay. Go more of like an acid green.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I was kind of thinking
to do. Or neon or something.
So yeah, just as a point of reference, I left the bases green just so that way you could see that was what the original color of the sculpt was. So everybody will get to see that's what we started out with.
Maybe the fact that there's still black on him is darkening him up.
Well, on the camera for sure. Yeah, it's reflecting some of the undertone and of the.
What do you guys think? Comment.
Yeah, we need some help.
We need some comments.
Yeah, tell us. It's the battle.
It's the battle of the purples.
Yes, the purples.
Yes,
which purple
do
you like
battle.
more?
What do you think?
You think we should go with him? I kind of like him.
I mean,
like, comment, subscribe.
Yeah. we need comments. All right. So, well, I guess I could try doing the black dude, and you could try doing the white dude.
Okay.
And I don't need any comments saying I'm racist by calling these guys black dudes and white dudes. Yeah. And they're all zombies, all right?
They're primed.
And they're just primed.
They're literally just black or white.
Exactly.
There's no gray area with these two. They're just one or the other.
I was just, as I'm saying it, I'm just thinking.
They're very politically conservative here.
Exactly.
Everything's just black or white.
I just know I'm just going to get some kind of comment.
Oh, that's okay. We'll get more viewers that way.
That's true. Go ahead, comment.
Yeah.
Tell me I'm a racist.
Hey, that's how we get viewers, right? You never know. Controversy,
That's right. Go ahead. I just opened it up, didn't I, for all them trolls.
Who knows? We'll see. It is YouTube after all. So.
Let's get some trolls going.
Well, Twitch first, right? Twitch is the first.
We have both YouTube and Twitch, right?
There we go.
Yeah. So we love you both.
Lots of people.
Yeah, and we have a viewer on Twitch right now. So hey,
there we go.
Hi.
Hey, Twitch viewer.
And we love you.
Hey.
Thank you.
Let us know what you think. Which prime are you?
What do you think?
Which prime?
We like lurkers too, but we really need help here.
Yeah, we're kind of. We may have to do a coin toss even at the end.
I know it could be tough.
And it's purple, so that's a tricky color to work with. It really is.
It is.
It's one of the reasons it's one of my favorite colors. It's definitely my. What's your favorite color anyway?
Well, blue actually.
Blue? Okay.
Yeah.
What kind of blue? Is it a warmer blue or a cooler blue?
Well, it's that. Well, I always say cerulean blue, but I'm thinking I'm saying the wrong one.
No, that's like a sky blue?
It's that really bright, almost cobalty blue, I think.
Yeah, cobalt tends to be kind of in the middle, so you can kind of go either way.
I'm saying it wrong.
Well, it's one of the weirder.
There's one in my bedroom, but I just said it wrong.
Like that blue on the mirror there. Is that a cerulean to you?
No, that's purple. What do you? The actual on the
writing, yeah.
That's not quite there.
Okay.
So brighter than that.
Well, see, that's what's interesting about color, though. Like when I ask people, I'll always ask my students, what do you think purple is? Does it tend to be more red or more blue? Because it's both, right?
Well, purple is red and blue combined.
Well, right, but a lot of people they lean towards calling purple a more redder or more reddish.
Oh.
Right, on the more red side, right?
Yeah.
And I tend to think that more of as a magenta.
Yeah, it totally depends. See, that purple is more blue.
Mm-hmm.
And magenta.
We'll have to create a word picture for you.
We totally do.
Over there, away from the camera.
Where you can't see at all.
But that's the whole thing is that it's the color thing is so relative there for sure.
It really is. It is.
And even value. And I think I have a theory about. I think there's the way people's eyes work and the way their brains work.
Well, it's like that dress. That dress. What was that blue?
Yeah, is it gold? Is it gold and white, or is it blue and black?
Yeah,
right. It's both actually.
It was.
It depends on the color.
Depending
it depends
on
the
how
light.
you were looking at it.
Just depends on the light.
So should we try to start painting one, or should we should we paint it next episode?
I think we should just jump right into painting next episode. Because we're close enough that we're only 5 minutes left. And we covered pretty much all of it. So by then we'll have decided which one we're gonna want.
Which one we're gonna do, and then we'll just paint, and we'll do all of it, and we could maybe even go into painting the clothing as well.
Yeah, we can get that started as well.
Yes.
Yeah, for sure.
Yes.
That's definitely a good plan. And we'll already have a miniature ready that are both primed the same way. You know, like these same miniatures will have green clothing.
And I maybe will have done some more testing.
Yeah, do more tests.
Possibly on these primed.
Yeah, the ghosts.
Yeah, the primed ghosts.
No, that's good because we can kind of like we're both doing different experiments.
And we also need to
experiment
on.
And then more miniatures that way too.
We have one more set to experiment on.
Which one?
One more horde.
Oh yeah, which one is it?
We have that not the green, the brown horde. I think it is.
Oh, okay. I didn't know they had.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, they're already.
As I'm out.
Oh, that's so funny.
This horde.
There's one called the Green Horde, and I'm talking about giving them purple skin.
What? Yeah. Exactly. Our green horde. Yeah, this is the green horde. Here that you didn't take home.
Oh, okay. So these.
Which is the main zombie horde.
Oh yeah, this green is a different green too.
Yeah.
It's like a little more of a. Here, let's see if we can. You see that?
We have to choose our color theme for them as well.
Green. This is more of a warm green, like a swampy green.
Right.
So these guys we would want to paint differently then, maybe.
Exactly.
So we could even go with really playing up that swampiness.
Yeah, because they're more like they're our main horde.
Oh, they are? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, it's the one that comes with the core set.
Yep.
That's what got the cards and everything.
Core set. Yep.
Okay. I'm handing you stuff. I'll just hand you each miniature.
No, here, I'll take.
Oh yeah.
See.
So there's a bunch.
There's our big horde.
That's a lot of guys.
Yeah.
A lot of guys to paint.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's the big horde, and then I think this is one of each.
Mm-hmm.
So you.
Oh, so you know what they all are, right?
So what they all look like.
Yeah. Well, we're gonna lead into painting all of these, right? Eventually. Yeah. And I'll talk about strategies on batch painting. You know, so you're painting the same thing over and over again.
Exactly.
And much more efficiently than just pick one up, paint it. Pick one up, paint it. I have a method that is not original.
We have a method to this madness.
Yes, exactly. We're gonna get somewhere with all this.
Yeah, it's gonna get done.
We'll even paint the catapult too.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, and then we're gonna actually play it. And I'm gonna make him
we're gonna play it. Oh, really? Have you already played it before?
No, it's our Z game, so it's gonna get played at the end of the year.
Oh, okay.
But I'm gonna make you play with us.
So the goal is by the end of the year to play it then.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So. Okay. And don't worry, we have other stuff to paint too.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, of course.
Besides Zombicide.
Yeah.
We have lots of games to paint.
I'm sure there'll be some side projects. I'd love to paint some Shadespire and that kind of stuff too. I've played Shadespire, so we may have to sneak some of that in at some point.
He's gonna have to teach me that.
Yeah. Well, that would be a fun episode.
Yeah,
for
definitely.
Sure. Yeah, it takes a. Yeah, I'm getting better at explaining it.
Oh, good.
Basically,
good.
I had a friend that found a copy of it at Bookman's, and it had all of the doodads, like the card sleeves and the special dies, everything for the main war bands, and for 2 other war bands, and he got it for like $45.
There's also this new RPG that's out that has miniatures. It's called Doggo Dungeon, and they're all little dogs.
Yeah, I've heard of their character classes.
Yes, and I totally want to paint that.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah.
So that's another one that I'm hoping we can do.
So
as
painting
a side
fur,
project.
that's gonna happen.
Yeah,
when we paint
that's
the dogs.
gonna happen.
Yeah.
So
I liked the wizard. Yeah. I just saw it last night actually. It's
and that's one I'm hoping to maybe look to learn to be the first thing that I DM.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
So that will be something that I'm hoping we can do too.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Great.
Yeah. So lots of stuff that we're thinking to do,
Definitely.
and so stay tuned.
Yes.
Our next episode will be in 2 weeks.
Oh, it's already 6:00. Wow.
I know,
yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
That just zoomed by.
Yeah.
I know, we have so much fun with our happy little miniatures. And,
absolutely.
I believe that is the Monday before Phoenix Fan Fusion.
Okay.
I'm
not going, so it's fine.
Oh, well, you should. You definitely should. I'm going to have a booth. I'll be there with Core 6 Media.
It's just gotten too big for me, honestly.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
I'm voicing a character for Stan's Adventure, and the comic is coming out.
Oh, cool.
At Phoenix Fan Fusion.
Well, that's great. That's great. A lot of my friends are doing really cool stuff. Stacy's at Puppet Pie, of course.
Yeah. Stacy's going to be there with Puppet Pie, and we're going to be there with Real Girls Cosplay, and Diana's going to be there. Okay. She's going to have with her cosplay, she's going to be in the masquerade. Mm-hmm. So we're super excited about that. And she's going to have a table where she's going to be signing autographs. So she's
Have I met her?
I don't know if you have.
Yeah, I don't think I have.
So she's one of the cosplayers on our show, Real Girls Cosplay.
Yeah, I remember somebody said that they were going to the masquerade also, and I think it was just last night they told me. Do you know somebody named Dipsy Day?
No, I don't.
Oh, okay.
But maybe I'll meet her.
Yeah.
Because I'm helping Diana with her masquerade.
All right, great.
I'm going to be her performer.
Awesome.
So I'm excited about that.
Yep.
Yeah, so we will see you all in 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
2 weeks for episode 3, and
yes,
that will be painting.
We'll get right into the painting.
Yeah,
we
right
promise.
into painting.
We promise this time.
I know, you're like, yeah, sure.
There's so much to talk about, though. I mean, I could even talk about gossip, like painting gossip. That's how much I love talking about painting miniatures.
All right, so painting and gossip.
Yeah, well, by next week there will be, I'm sure.
That's right.
Because I know that Games Workshop has an announcement about paints, so on the 11th. So.
And I am busy printing up some meeples, and they are going to be for sale at Phoenix Fan Fusion.
Yeah, I should paint some of those up too.
Hey,
as a character or something.
Hey, that would be awesome. Yeah. Hey, there you go. Might have some original painted for meeples from Dain. Hey, that would be really awesome.
Okay. Cool.
All right. So thank you.
Bye.
Y'all come back now. You hear?
Yeah.